Hey guys, Sky here. I got a Necromancer build for you today, but first I just wanted to say I'm back on ESO. I was playing Guild Wars 2 for a bit, came back to ESO, found out that my account had been hacked, and worked with Sauce trying to get it back. Didn't really, you know, nothing materialized out of that. It's unfortunate, but I do have another account and I will be playing on that. I did not play at the start of Elsewhere, so obviously the first thing I did was I leveled a Stam and a Necromancer, and you know, I started playing on it and just paying attention to the patch notes that have been coming out. I believe this is the best build for the next patch, at least as far as my style and what I like to do in the outnumbered fights and VX and whatnot. So just to jump right in, we'll go over gear real quick. If you know me, nothing in this build as far as the gear goes will be a surprise. We're running 5 medium, we're running medium blood spawn, and 3 medium clever alchemist pieces, and 2 medium fury, or 2 heavy fury on the body. 3 fury jewelry. We're running protective. I know it got nerfed. You can try infused or robust or something else. I still think protective is just the best bang for your buck trait. This build gets 6,500 weapon damage very easily. It can make it over 7k, you know, with continuous and a couple other buffs. So I just really didn't see the need for infused. If anything, I'd run swift, probably run like 2 swift, but I still think protective is going to be the best bet for next patch. Our resistances are just amazing in it still. We've got 23k, and then when Bloodspawn procs, we'll have just under 30k as an orc. We're not playing a Nord for this particular build. I felt like it needed a little more damage, which the orc was able to provide. So back to the gear, we're running all stamina glyphs except for 1 magicka glyph. We're running a magicka glyph on the belt just to put us over that 10k cap. We don't need a lot of magicka because we only have 2 skills that use it, our mender and our armor, and when we have our mender up, we've actually get 873 magicka recovery from one of the passives, which we'll go over all that for a second. So don't need a big mag pool. 25k health is plenty, and that gets you 33k stam and a ton of stam recovery. It's great. So we're running poisons on the front bar with master dual wield, running Nirnhone sharpened. The enchants don't matter. Like I said, I'm on the PTS, so everything's just kind of boilerplate, and I just busted it out real quick. And then we're running Clever Alch back bar. I think Nirnhone is a good choice, as well as Decisive. I think Defending is also a good choice. I also think Infused is a good choice. Personal preference, I went Decisive for now, because I want to try and build up some more ultimate, because our main ultimate, the Pestilent Colossus, costs a lot of ultimate when we're used to spamming leaps and Dawnbreakers and whatnot like I am. And then we're running a weapon damage glyph on the back bar, and 3 weapon damage glyphs on the jewelry. There's no need for any stam recovery glyphs in this build. As soon as we have our mender up and a potion up, we have 2371 stam recovery, and that's the lowest I can make the stam recovery. That's honestly too much stam recovery. I would run less if I could, but I can't. For food, we're running lava foot soup. So with the health line from Fury, the 2 health lines from Clever Alchemist, we get a health line from being an orc, or well, the equivalent of a health line. It's 1000 health. It's just and then we get health from the Necromancer passives as well. Let's see, where's that guy? This guy. 1250. So we have so much health, we don't need to run any food that has health in it. 25k health is plenty, and it's not like bi-stat food would give us a damage increase or anything. And like I said, I mean, you could run tri-stat if for some reason you're not being able to sustain your magicka, but with just the Spirit Mender and the Bone Armor as your 2 magicka skills, you really should be fine. Both of them are pretty long. I mean, this guy's 16 seconds, this guy's 20 seconds, so yeah, I don't see a reason for you to need to go over 10k magicka. Anyways, so moving on to skills, we're going to go, this is great, Turn Evil. Alright, so this is a new stun. This is from the Fighters Guild skill line, so that means that it gives us 3% more weapon damage as well. It gives us an AoE Fear for 5 seconds. When we're standing in it, it's pretty big. When we're standing in it, we get minor protection. We get minor endurance as well, but this patch will also get minor endurance from Rally, so that's kind of redundant. But this is just amazing. It's pretty expensive, but oh man, it just it opens the doors for a lot of classes that previously couldn't have stuns on the dual wheel bar and were like tied to Dizzy Swing and Dawnbreaker stuns to be able to stun stuff. It's going to be amazing for like Stam Sork and Stammed In. I'm really excited about this skill here, so I'm definitely running it. You can also place it as a trap, like a fear trap. If you're like, you know, line of sight kiting right here, follow him, boom, drop your Pestilent Colossus, going spinning. It's really great. I'm really enjoying it. We're running Blast Bones. This is major defile and huge disease damage. It explodes after 2.5 seconds. Or sorry, it summons after 2.5 seconds, and then it runs and jumps. Next pass, it jumps faster, and then it puts defile on him for 4 seconds. We're running Rending Slashes. This is kind of like our bread and butter. Just keep it up at all times. I like to heavy attack into it. I'll refresh it pretty often, just since we're not running a spammable. If you do want to run a spammable, you can always run the Flame Skull, but you know, it's really not needed with how much damage this build is putting out just in burst. And then we're running Whirling Blades. This is our AoE execute. We usually only use this as an execute. I really don't recommend spamming it. You can if you want. I would try and save your stam though for when they're in execute. We're still running it. I don't care if you say it's cheesy. Dodge roll's cheesy, so as soon as you know, people can just dodge roll back to a Zerg until they get a Breath of Life. You know, if they ever fix that, then I'll stop running it. But until then, and then we're running Vigor. This is now 4 seconds as of today. It's definitely, you know, less than it, not as strong as it has been. It, you know, it's a shame, but at the same time, Stam healing was getting a little over the top. We've got a good enough passive healing in this build. I don't think it'll be too much of an issue. I wouldn't be surprised if when it goes live, they add a little more healing to it. So that's the front bar. We're running Pestilent Colossus, like I said before. Back bar, we got Rally. So this is just kind of like our burst heal. It still is a pretty good burst heal. It also gets us minor endurance, which gives us even more stam recovery, like we're talking about. We get well, I think our continuous wore off, so we only have 2100 now, but that's still plenty. We're running the Spirit Mender. So this guy reduces our damage by 10%, gives us a little passive heal. It's not much, but we definitely want to keep him up because he gives us access to this passive, which helps buff our rally's crit chance. And then this guy keeps the 200 magicka and stamina recovery buff up. So really good skill. 10% damage reduce is awesome. I haven't tested if it stacks additively with this minor protection, but if it does, then it's going to be basically kind of like the Stamblade's bow last patch. It's going to be like that. So we're running Shuffle. This guy, this patch gives us major evasion, and then so snare immunity is up to 1 second. Thank God it's finally a good snare removal. I'm really excited about that. And then we're running Beckoning Armor, so get major ward, major resolve here. I'm running the morph that pulls them in. You can run the other morph that reduces the cost of your summons. That's also really good, but like I said, I'm just really not worried about sustain on this build. I'd rather just kind of yoink people to me if I can to fight them, you know, up close. We are a melee build after all. We really don't have any range skills. And then we're running Hexproof, so this is a 4-effect purge, and while slotted it reduces the cost of our abilities by 3%, which isn't much, but it helps with some of the more expensive skills, Shuffle and Rally, that we have as far as stamina goes. Actually, Shuffle's a lot cheaper this patch, which is really nice. It costs 1824 health, so not a big deal. One thing I like is that it won't let you like spam it, or it won't let you use it when you don't have a negative effect on you, which is really good. So you know, you can't accidentally kill yourself or something. You know, removing 4 negative effects for 1800 health, I'll make that trade any day. Onslaught here on the back bar. We're using this for the penetration it gives. Might run Dawnbreaker back here. Not sure. Haven't felt it out on live yet. The cast times do kind of turn me off of the Dawnbreaker, but We'll see. This is mostly just here so we can, you know, use our onslaught on someone if we don't quite have enough ultimate for 225, that Pestilent Colossus, but we want to get him down and take care of him real quick. So for potions, I'm running this Essence of Health, which is its health, its stamina, and then its lingering health, essentially. So 1,013 health per second, or 1,113 health per second. These are OP. They're also really expensive. They're like 340 a pop on live, I believe. So if you can't run those, I'd run Essence of Immovability with the Major Savagery as well. It's nice to get that crit. It does help. We do have crit bonuses on our front bar for enemies in Execute. We only get 20% just because of how the bars worked out, but it still definitely helps. It could get you to about 70% crit chance with Major Savagery if they're in Execute, and that'll work really nicely with Whirling Blades. So moving on from the skills and potions, we're going to go into champion points here. I'll just run through these real quick. This is the same as most of my other builds. You know, CP's pretty boilerplate. I think there's not a whole lot of wiggle room just since everyone has so much CP now. So we always run Run-In Siphoner just to proc the debuffs that it puts on someone to take up purge slots. 44 into Warlord for 17 cost reduction of break free, 70%. Sprinter, I'm running one more than I need to in here, but the other point didn't really matter, so you could run 25, 26 in here. Just helps, you know, we are an orc after all, and we are going to be kiting. Mooncalf, we got 56, buff our Stam recovery, 27% into Magicka recovery, or 27 for 7% into Magicka recovery, 37 into Tenacity for 9%. Running 31 into Befoul, this gives us about 5% more heal cut. Unfortunately, this star doesn't really scale very well anymore, so that's about as much as I felt comfortable putting in it. 18% for Tumbling, or 48 for 18% in Tumbling. 15 into Bless for 4%. Not a lot there, but like I said, I'm not too worried about the healing on this build with Rally and the Lingering Health Pots and all the passive healing. 11 Physical Weapon Expert. If you're good at weaving your light attacks, this is really helpful. It'll make you hit some really strong light attacks. 66 Master at Arms. Over to the Ritual Tree. We're running 34 into Thom. This is a good amount. It's quite a lot, but it's just really going to buff our Master Dual Wield Rending Ticks next patch. 56 into Precise Strikes. This gives us 20% buff to our critical strikes. 39 Piercing, get us a little bit of extra penetration. Remember that bleeds do not go through resistances next patch, so we're running a little more in here than we previously had. Before, I think I ran like 2,500 penetration or so. 49 into Mighty for 11% increase to physical poison and disease damage. Over in the Steed, we're running 61 Ironclad, 12 Medium, and 12 Spell Shield. This gets us 1191. I think we should go get Voldenrung on the PTS. This gets us 1191 spell resistance and physical resistance. It just kind of helps buff those resistances. It pretty much makes up for what we lost on the protective nerf. 50 into resistant for 12, 37 critical resistance. That puts us at 30, 43 critical resistance, which is a great number. That's a lot of crit resist. Heading over to the Lady, we're running 40 Thick, 37 Hardy, 43 Elemental Defender. You could run 43 Hardy, 37 Elemental Defender, depending on what you're finding you're struggling with more, magic damage or physical damage. But we do want to get 120 no matter what we do for the Unchained passive. This guy's really important to the, just like to general stamina, sustain. 15 into Quick Recovery just for an extra 14% healing, and if you're ever with a buddy or something, it'll reduce your damage taken while you res them, because you get the Field Physician passive. Okay, so just going to go over some quick tips here on how to play the build with the skills that I am running at least. So we've got 4 buffs on our back bar we want to keep up. Our Rally, our little ghost guy that reduces damage taken and procs our sustain passives. Shuffle, and then our Beckoning Armor. So those guys, you want to keep all of them up at all times, no questions asked. The only time you want to go to your back bar is to re-up those, pop a potion for Clever Alchemist, or to pop your Rally if you need to heal. Try to let it get down as low as possible in order to get the most heal out of it. And then On our front bar, our basic combo, we're going to usually heavy attack into rending, get a blast bones on them, stun them, and then go with either a pestilent colossus or an onslaught if we have that up. And then once they get low, we start spinning. And we spin to win here. So, a couple tips, just remember to always proc your potion on your back bar when you're using Clever Alk. Light attack before you go to your front bar to proc your weapon damage passive. See, we have 5319 weapon damage right there before any Fury procs, so plenty of damage. And then we're going to want to use our Turn Undead skill to stun them, fear them every 5 seconds or so, unless they have an immovability potion up. You know, don't go broke on Stam, but definitely use it as much as you can. Like I said, if you're ever running out of things to do and your blast bones is up and ready to attack, you can always just heavy attack into a rending. It'll do a little bit of damage, and it'll restore a little bit of Stam. Just help your sustain out. Don't do what I just did and proc the potion on your front bar. So yeah, that's kind of the basics of how to play this build. When you're kiting, you're usually going to want to be on your back bar, run the line of sight, shuffle behind after you get behind line of sight to get the most out of your snare cleanse. You'll get 5 seconds of immunity. Make sure you're keeping rally and your ghost and your armor up. And then if you ever get negative effects on you, you can always use your hexproof debuff. I know this house had a balcony. Neato. Alright guys, so that's all. I hope you enjoyed. Like I said, I lost my account, but I'll be back on ESO. As always, I appreciate all the support, and just let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.